So real quick, I did want to get your thoughts on the 3 designated opponents.
Oh, the pod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the
I
3
love the
primary
Boston
opponents.
College thing.
Okay.
Boston College, I like that. Some people in the Miami Hurricanes fan base didn't like it. I think it's a great market. We at the University of Miami, not the football program, the University of Miami has hundreds and hundreds of graduates from the Northeast. A lot of those rich people send their kids down to go to school at the University of Miami. So from that area, from Boston, from that rich, pompous area, they send their offspring down to the University of Miami. We even used to recruit that area really heavy with some great players, even drifting over to like the Pittsburgh side of it too.
You seem to grab the best player in Connecticut pretty often, whether it's Van Dyke or who was there's somebody else out there right now that you guys either. I know Cam and I were talking about somebody last night or the week before. There was another top player in the state of Connecticut that was on Miami's. I forget. Anyway.
Okay. But I like the Boston College thing. Besides the Flutie Hail Mary, we also had the Ed Reed interception to save the 2001 season. Uh, we've had some pretty good. Duke
Yeah, the
Johnson's
history goes
first
back.
collegiate game was against Boston College in 2012. Almost, it would be 10 years to the day on September 4th when we played Bethune-Cookman. Will be 10 years ago that Duke Johnson introduced himself to college football playing at Boston College. So, I mean, just one of those weird things that I know off the top of my head, which is weird, whatever. I like it. Not saying that I like it over other teams that could have been there. Like, I wanted Virginia Tech. I really wanted Virginia Tech or V Tech out of respect for now my good friend correcting me. It's not Tech, it's Virginia Tech to say the whole thing. No problem. I will respect you because we're cool. We respect each other. I got you. I say Virginia Tech. No problem. I wanted Virginia Tech. Georgia Tech could kick rocks. I wanted Virginia Tech.
Miami and Virginia Tech have the longest history of having important games against each other, going back to the Big East, more than anybody else.
Okay.
They just do, right?
Right. I feel you. Besides Tallahassee, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
But you're saying that's like a built-in rivalry. So yeah.
Yeah, okay. that's a
you don't really count them. That goes unsaid. Yeah. Next to Tallahassee, I would say Virginia Tech is definitely second. So I'm happy that we got both those teams. Well, we didn't really get Tallahassee, but we're going to play them every year. Because our 3 is Louisville, Boston College, and Tallahassee, right?
Yeah. Louisville's got nobody. Like, there's nobody that they have to play, that they have to be matched up against. So theirs turned out to be probably a bunch of placeholders. Like, the way I looked at this was the ACC was going to say, these are the games that have to be played. Miami and Florida State have to play. UNC and NC State have to play. There's
Clemson,
a few other
Tallahassee.
ones.
Yeah, right. There's some big ones historically that you got to have happen on that.
Yeah. And then after that, okay, what makes sense? Like Tobacco Road. They tried to keep that together as much as possible. UNC, NC State, Wake, Duke. Who am I missing? Wake, Duke, and probably pretty much those 4. That you can see they've got them together about as much as you possibly can. And then the rest of it after that was going to just be about, okay, let's not make it any too hard for anybody or too soft for anyone. Let's try to keep it balanced. And the rest is just going to be placeholders. And maybe there was some thought about, I think they kept, Pitt and Syracuse, maybe Syracuse, Boston College, that Northeast contingent together. And then you just have a bunch of open spots that you just have to make sure it works.
Yeah, I like the pod. Again, having Tallahassee on the schedule was going to be a given. The question were the other 2. My pod that I wanted was UNC, Virginia Tech, Tallahassee. Those are the 3 I wanted. I got one of those 3. I think the UNC thing comes from not beating them the last 4 years, but historically, it's not really a big rivalry there. They tried to create it, and Butch Davis embedded in their like the DNA in their program 10, 12 years ago when he was their head coach. We don't lose to these people. And he made it a big thing like, no, we hate Miami, hate Miami, hate Miami. And I think their coaches after him kind of kept that going, but and in the grand scheme of things, if that game isn't played, it doesn't. But for me personally, playing Virginia Tech, whether they were here or at Lane Stadium, was something I want to see every year. Because I know I'm going to get the Tallahassee game, but Virginia Tech in the ACC is the second biggest rivalry that we had. So that was a little disappointing, but bringing in Louisville, some people don't really like it and feel like we're kind of validating Louisville and giving them a good place of recruitment. I think it is a nudge in the right direction as far as giving us a chance to kind of beat on them a little bit. Not saying it's a given game. They're a tough out, especially playing there on a Saturday night or a Thursday night. But they can push us, they can test us, but I still don't think under Mario Cristobal that they would be the biggest threat to us. So I like that. And again, Boston College history. There's history there, and I want to be able to play that game. And I think having them come in again, we could kick them in the teeth. In my opinion, there's really a big difference between Boston College and Duke recently. Difference is what, a game or two?
No, Duke's been awful about the last 3 to 4 years.
Okay, yeah, I probably went a little too far with that. But all I'm saying is,
before that, they were pretty good for a little while.
It's not the big. Again, I'm saying as far as against University of Miami, when Miami is rolling, is there really a big difference between the two teams?
Well, if Miami's rolling, there's not a difference. It doesn't matter. But
right.
The difference is that Duke is just awful. They're the worst team and have been the worst team for 3 or 4 years now. Boston College, unless something changes, they're pretty much going to go 6-6 or 7-5 every year. If you look at their records, the last 6, 7, 8 years, they're 7-5 or 6-6 every year.
Mark, should there be a private school conference in your opinion? Now, see, that would be tough only because it's so many spread all over. But what I mean by private school, let me verify. Should there be like a private school, like Ivy League brand of ball, to where your Dukes can play your Vanderbilts, can play your Boston Colleges, can play your Cal Berkeleys? Because I just don't see them ever being able to compete if they're not willing as an institution to invest the way that these other public institutions. I mean, Miami's a private school, but we invest and have a history of great football. I can't say that about some of those other schools I just robbed off. Cal has a little great history, but
Stanford,
not in the last 20. Stanford's fallen off big time too.
Sure, but they can be great. They can be really good. I'll say really good. Yeah, when I say BC is 6-6 or 7-5 every year, I mean it. This is their last 8 or 9 years: 6-6, 6-5, 6-7, 7-5, 7-6, 7-6, 3-9, 7-6, 7-6, 7-6. That's what they do every year.
And another thing, Mark, that may be their outcome, but they're always a tough out. I mean, you're going to out-athlete them, but they're going to be physical. They're not going to beat themselves. And Wisconsin has become a pretty good program, but that used to be Wisconsin, right? I mean, for a while there, it used to be kind of, but then, a coach that we said no to goes up there and makes them into what we have right now. before we go, I gotta throw this out there, Mark. How the hell do they just get to say we're leaving? Aren't you like contractually obligated to be in a conference for a bit? Like, how do you just get to
Yeah,
say?
they're going to pony up a ton of money to leave. Yeah, they're going to have to pay their way out of it. I don't know what those numbers are, but they're huge, I'm sure. They're going to have to cough up like $20 million to leave.
Miami, all I'm gonna say is hear them out, see if the SEC is willing to hop on, hear them out. Because again, that is a serious point about monopoly. You're either in or you're not. And I would much rather us be in than not be in. So if we do get to a point where we have to make a decision on leaving, I want us to go to the SEC, but I think we have more success in the Big Ten. Just saying.
Sure. I just don't see Miami getting left out. I think I think the three schools that are the safest to the ACC are Miami, Clemson, and Florida State. I just can't imagine. I would think that they would be the next SEC targets. You know, they would have to add somebody else. They would have to go after 4. Maybe they'd like Virginia Tech or NC State. I don't know.
Notre Dame, you might have to join a conference, dude.
Yeah. What's
And now you can't just come to the ACC. You got to go to the Big Ten where your behind belongs.
It might be finally money, so much money that's going to push them to have to join a conference.
Imagine that now. All those times being blocked out of the Big Ten, and then you still had to go back with your head down, like, can you let me in? And now in the regular season, you're going to have to play Michigan, Michigan State. Purdue should come with them just for the rivalry of that, too. And USC in the regular season, just to as all conference games. Wow. Miami fans chanting SEC. I don't know, Mark. I don't know, Mark. Starting to feel a little weird.
It does. It does.
And then I'm going to say it again now before we end. Watch. We'll have a bunch of good news for us next time we're live. Watch. Something crazy has happened. And Miami and Tallahassee is in talks with the SEC. And the Florida Gators are pissed. Watch. I called it.
Okay.